And last but not by all means not the very least, we have Usman Piracha presenting on getting past. Getting past no. Okay.
Hello everybody. I hope you're awake, but I still don't plan to take your pictures and post them on that Facebook wall should you fall asleep. I'll just be grateful you stay awake for another 5-10 minutes.
Nice and short.
Yeah, not a problem. Okay, ready to go as soon as this presentation comes up. Right, so getting past no, how do you break deadlock situations? Usman Piracha, I already told you that. I will be telling you about some personal experiences that you can relate with your daily life. And these experiences are not very complicated, so they're very simple. You can start using them as soon as I stop talking. But my introduction will give you an idea of what these personal experiences comprise of. So I graduated from an engineering university and then went on to get a master's degree in management from the University of Edinburgh. Law school degrees include the University of Sussex and the City Law School, where I finalized my academic career with a master's in law. Work experience includes working for Huawei, a large telecom company, working for the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan. My friends here will know Asma Jahangir, a very famous person, as well as currently working for a law firm, which gives you the experience of a lot of deadlock situations and then, of course, trying to break them. Right, so how do you know if you're in a deadlock situation? You might think, well, okay, I have sweaty hands, knots in my stomach, the jugular vein in my neck is falling out of my collar, therefore this must be a deadlock situation. I'm not going to be overwhelmed, but I will stay calm. Well, actually, there are some other behavioral aspects that you can see in yourself before you realize you are in a deadlock situation. And it's important to know this. Why? Because if you don't identify that there is a deadlock situation, you may wake up next day regretting what you said. Let me explain this a little bit more, but I will tell you the behavioral aspects that you need to see within yourself can be, do you feel like when you're negotiating with anyone, be it an individual, be it in a across the table sort of a scenario, do you feel like striking back? I mean, not literally, but do you feel like just launching at them and saying, what are you saying? I mean, God's sake, or whatever. I'm quitting all the sweary words, but of course you can plug them in if you wish to. And, or do you feel like giving in? All right, fine, I'll leave my turf. You walk all over me. That's okay. Or do you feel like breaking off any relationships with them? You don't want to see them again. They could be a very important client, but they're just so mean. You don't want to see them again. All of these situations are not the ideal scenarios. So what is the answer to this? Go to the balcony. But not just yet, all right. Let me finish first. So you literally don't have to go to the balcony, but your mind goes there. You're sitting across the table, and this guy, whoever he is, who's making your life miserable, says whatever he has to say, and you feel you have those behavioral aspects that have put you in a deadlock situation. Pause. Let him say what he has to say. When he said what he has to say, ask for a timeout. It can be anything. I need to speak with my boss about what you've said. I need to use the menu. I need to remember what you said, so I'm going to write this down, but I need 5 minutes for this. But you've essentially broken off from that fierce engagement, and you are now going to disengage and rewind what he has said. And when you rewind into your mind what he has said, there could be 2 very specific scenarios. He may have, or she may have, orchestrated a deadlock. They may have set a trap for you. I will explain this further. Or it might actually be a genuine deadlock situation where there is no malintention, but it just happens to be that you are now in a deadlock position. So, what would be an orchestrated deadlock? Stonewalling. That's the first one. They will play their bluff game. They will obstruct you. They will say, you know what? If you are not agreeing to these 3 conditions as of today or right now, we are not talking to each other. That's it. The case is over. And you might think you see Eric Cartman in them. Do you guys watch South Park? All right. So it's one of those Eric Cartman moments. I have changed some of his famous line words. It's another word, but I say, "Sue you guys, I'm going home." It's one of those situations. That's what they say. All right, guys, we're not talking anymore. So they're trying to obstruct the process of negotiation. They might try to intimidate you. They might attack you. They might even talk to you like, "How long have you been in law school, by the way, again?" "All right, so okay, sure. Well, actually, I was in law school when you were born." So they might throw you off in the most unbelievable ways. And of course, deception, lying. They might lie to you. They may not tell you the truth. With all due respect, Professor Ben, you did say that diplomats are very good at hiding the truth. Lawyers are equally good at finding it out. You may not say it. We may not stand up for it. But nevertheless, there are ways. So, 2 minutes. All right. So, the approach is, if you can name the game, if you know what they're going to do, what game they're trying to play, if they're trying to do stonewalling, then you can call their bluff. I will give you an example. If they're trying to attack you, don't let them get to you. Don't let them grow a thick skin. And if they're trying to deceive you, research, buy time, review, investigate, hire a good lawyer. Okay, so, and then of course the genuine deadlock situations. Genuine deadlock situations where people's personal egos can be involved, and they will not be willing to compromise because there could be many other factors, political, religious, whatever. And the idea, I'm going to skip this slide because I'll just go straight to the examples and I'll come back if there's time. So I'm going to give you some examples from my own personal experience. We were dealing with a very large client that had been debated in the British lower house. And the issues were with fairness. So the client was trying to bid, the client was offering a bid, a few million, 100 million pounds, and we had two bidders in the race right near the end. So bidder B decides to play the Stonewall game, and he also deceives. He says, by the way, we're not going to be in this process because you are not giving us the right kinds of requirements. And we're afraid, as lawyers, as a client, you're thinking, what? Is this going to land again in the press? And what if this bidder goes away? Then we're only left with one bidder in the race, and that is not good for our client. Then you can't really compete on the prices. So I look at the associate looks at the partner looks out the window. And we all decide to go to the balcony, literally this time. And we say, you know what, maybe this is just a stonewalling, because the whole process has gone on for so long. If they really wanted to leave, they would have left in the first week. This is 8 weeks down the line. They are really not serious about it. So we come back and we say, yeah, very nice, okay, fine, you can leave. They come back next week in a weaker position. So if you call their bluff, the deadlock is broken, and they come back to you in a weaker position. But this obviously comes with experience. I mean, the partner obviously knew what he was doing. So it takes time to learn. Yeah, here you go. Okay, working for the Human Rights Commission. I had the opportunity to work in some of the hardest, most difficult neighborhoods in the country. And some of them were Taliban sympathizers. You see, when you say Taliban, people suddenly get afraid, but well, you go there, you talk to them, these people who have lost everything, and you try to convince them of renouncing a violent approach and using non-violent means. And these are not hardcore Taliban. I'm just saying they might just be sympathizers. So we're there, it's a certain place, and a person walks in, he screams at us, and he says, every person that you have mentioned that we should go to is actually useless, and I have their identity cards. He's swearing, he's screaming, he's right next to me, my ear is not working anymore. So he puts down these names and he goes like, this person, I've been to this person, this person, this person. And now he's put us in a very difficult position because whatever we're saying has been thrown back to us on our face. And my boss picks up all those cards and he says, fine, thank you for working with us. We will not approach these people again. But we are here for you, and we will go to the people that will work for you, because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be here. So essentially what he had done, he had brought his adversary to work with him. This was Nelson Mandela's approach. This is how he made South Africa a rainbow nation. And essentially, this is something that the US and the USSR did to prevent the Third World War, effectively. They built a golden bridge for one another. They helped each other retreat from their egoistic, dug-in positions by saying, okay, fine, you can remove the nuclear missiles from Cuba, whereas we will remove the Jupiter missiles from Turkey. So essentially, you can break a deadlock. If it's a genuine deadlock, you don't need to worry about it being a bluff. It's probably about egos and people just being difficult. The final remarks being, fortunately enough, we have very cool heads in both India and Pakistan at this point in time. Unfortunately enough, there is a line of control, which is a point of conflict. And recently, in recent weeks, there was a certain issue which got escalated, and a general from the Indian side said, we will give Pakistan a befitting response. It could have been a Pakistani general on any other day. But the Foreign Office, Sartaj Aziz came up and said, you know what, I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to speak with my Indian counterpart, and we're going to give a collective code or statement. And they come up, and this is this morning. So they come up and they say, dialogue will be held, and the political maturity of both countries will supersede any other desire. So I think that was very heartening to know, only this morning, that dug-in positions were shaken, and people were willing to talk to each other on equal terms. So they had kept a focus on their interests, not on their positions. They invented options for mutual gain. They knew what their goals were. They had an objective criteria how to get there. And they were soft on the people and hard on the problem. They did not let their egos get involved. Right, so do not make important decisions on the spot. Take time to think. That is the essential issue here. Don't feel that there's a pressure that you have to sign there and then. And use those techniques. Hopefully things will work out. Be it personal relationships, be it business relationships, or be it working across the table from somebody who's very difficult. And yeah, that's just a reference right there, flowchart. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very practical and that's fine. I think, in all due respect, I think if we reserve any questions for Usman for the dinner,
I'll be more than happy to answer them right now. Honestly, sorry.
Do you have any burning questions? One question at the back.
Can I just ask?
Sure.
Is it possible for you to email that presentation?
Not a problem.
Oh,
Okay. But I need your email address.
okay.
So,
Can you just put it up on the Facebook? Yeah, can you put it on the Facebook?
It's useful stuff.
What? Okay, cool. Yeah.
One of the things that you may want to do is to email it to Gemma,
Okay.
and at a touch of a button, every single person in this room, and even those who are absent now, will
Right.
receive it.
I hope this is not a reflection that none of you understood what I said.
No, we
Okay.
I wanted to make a remark on what you said.
Oh.
You were absolutely right
All right.
about diplomats trying to varnish the truth, not to lie or hide the truth. And lawyers are capable of doing that. The problem you will have is that we hire the best lawyers to varnish the truth and to prevent other lawyers from finding it.
Sir, you need to hire me then.
Absolutely.
To fix that balance.
The best diplomats are lawyers.
All right. Well, time to have food.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolutely amazing session. Made me feel, just sitting there and watching the way it was running, and it really made me almost regret that we did not have